Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Surah 18, al-Kalf, the cave, verses 61 to 110. I seek refuge in Allah from the devil, the accursed. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is the conclusion of Surah al-Kalf. But when they reached the junction between them, they forgot their fish, and it took its course into the sea, slipping away. So when they had passed beyond it, Moses said to his boy, "Bring us our morning meal. We have certainly suffered in this our journey much fatigue." He said, "Did you see when we retired to the rock? Indeed, I forgot there the fish, and none made me forget it except Satan, that I should mention it. And it took its course into the sea amazingly." And Moses said, "That is what we were seeking." So they returned, following their footprints. And they found a servant from among our servants, al-Kalf, to whom we had given mercy from us, and had taught him from us a certain knowledge. And Musa said to him, "May I follow you on the condition that you teach me from what you have been taught with sound judgment?" He said, "Indeed, with me you will never be able to have patience." "And how can you have patience for what you do not encompass in knowledge?" Moses said, "You will find me, if Allah wills, patient, and I will not disobey you in any order." He said, "Then if you follow me, do not ask me about anything until I make to you about it mention," explanation. And so they set out, until when they had embarked on the ship, he, al-Kalf, tore it open. Moses said, "Have you torn it open to drown these people? You have certainly done a great thing." Al-Kalf said, "Did I not say that with me you would never be able to have patience?" Moses said, "Do not blame me for what I forgot, and do not overwhelm me in my matter with difficulty." So they set out until when they met a boy, he, al-Kalf, killed him. Moses said, "Have you killed a pure soul for other than having killed a soul? You have certainly done a deplorable thing." Al-Kalf said, "Did I not tell you that with me you would never be able to have patience?" Moses said, "If I should ask you about anything after this, then do not keep me as a companion. You have obtained from me an excuse." So they set out, until when they came to the people of a town, they asked its people for food, but they refused to offer them hospitality. And they found therein a wall about to collapse, so he, al-Kalf, restored it. Moses said, "If you wished, you could have taken for it a payment." Al-Kalf said, "This is parting between me and you. I will inform you of the interpretation of that about which you could not have patience. And for the ship, as for the ship, it belongs to poor people working at sea, so I intended to cause defect in it, as there was after them a king who seized every good ship by force. And as for the boy, his parents were believers, and we feared that he would overburden them by transgression and disbelief. So we intended that their Lord should substitute for them one better than him in purity and nearer to mercy. And as for the wall, it belonged to 2 orphan boys in the city, and there was beneath it a treasure for them, and their father had been righteous. So your Lord intended that they reach maturity and extract their treasure as a mercy from your Lord. And I did it not of my own accord. That is the interpretation of that about which you could not have patience. And they ask you, O Muhammad, about al-Qarnayn. Say, I will recite to you about him a report. Indeed, we established him upon the earth, and we gave him from everything away, means. So he followed away, until when he reached the setting of the sun, the west, he found it as if setting in a body of dark water, and he found near it a people. Allah said, O al-Qarnayn, Either you punish them or else adopt among them a way of goodness. He said, as for one who wrongs, we will punish him. Then he will be returned to his Lord, and he will punish him with a terrible punishment, hellfire. But as for one who believes and does righteousness, he will have a reward of the best, paradise. And we, al-Kalf, will speak to him from our command with ease. Then he followed away, until when he came to the rising of the sun, the east, he found it rising on the people for whom we had not made against it any shield. Thus, and we had encompassed all that he had in knowledge. Then he followed away, until when he reached a path between two mountains, he found beside them a people who could hardly understand his speech. They said, O al-Kalf, indeed Gog and Magog are great corrupters in the land. So may we assign for you an expenditure that you might make between us and them a barrier. He said, that in which my Lord has established me is better than what you offer. But assist me with strength, manpower. I will make between you and them a dam. Bring me bars of iron until when he had leveled them between the two mountain walls, he said, blow with bellows until when he had made it like fire, he said, bring me that I may pour over it molten copper. So they, Gog and Magog, were unable to pass over it, nor were they able to effect in it any penetration. al-Kalf said, this is a mercy from my Lord, but when the promise of my Lord comes, he will make it level, and ever is the promise of my Lord true. And we will leave them that day surging over each other, and then the horn will be blown, and we will assemble them in one assembly, and we will present hell that day to the disbelievers on display, those whose eyes had been within a cover removed from my remembrance, and they were not able to hear. Then do those who disbelieve think that they can take my servants instead of me as allies? Indeed, we have prepared hell for the disbelievers as a lodging. Say, O Muhammad, shall we, believers, inform you of the greatest losers as to their deeds? They are those whose efforts is lost in worldly life, while they think that they are doing well in work. Those are the ones who disbelieve in the verses of their Lord, and then they're leaving him. So their deeds have become worthless, and we will not assign to them on the day of resurrection any weight, importance. That is their recompense, hell, for what they denied, and because they took my signs and my messengers in ridicule. Indeed, those who have believed in their righteous deeds, they will have the gardens of paradise as a lodging, wherein they abide eternally. They will not desire from it any transfer. Say, if the sea were ink for writing the words of my Lord, the sea would be exhausted before the words of my Lord were exhausted, even if we brought the like of it in continual supplement. Say, I am only a man like you, to whom has been revealed that your God is one God. So whoever would hope for the meeting with his Lord, let him do righteous work and not associate in the worship of his Lord anyone. Glory be to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. Allah is the greatest. Truly there is no power or might except with Allah. I bear witness to the fact there is no deity worthy of worship but Allah. Allah is one and has no partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the final messenger, servant and slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Peace and blessings be upon the prophets and messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all praise is due to him. All praise is due to him. We have but one God, people. Pay attention to what the prophets said, every single one of them. Take a look at the Bible. Get a King James Version. Pay attention to the prophets. Paul was not a prophet. He was an enemy to the followers of the way. Followers of the way followed Jesus in the truth of the Torah, the teachings of Moses. Peace and blessings be upon him and Jesus. Glory be to Allah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Shukran, shukran, shukran. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah.